What up? So this video is on nutrients. Nutrients can intimidate a lot of people. A lot of people don't know what to mix or how to mix them, or a lot of people don't know when to feed. A lot of people don't know how often to feed. So I'm gonna cover all that um in this video, and I'm gonna do it real fast, real simple, and real efficiently. So, first of all, before I even talk about the video, you should have all three of your nutrients that come together. In video one, I provided the Amazon link for you to buy these three bottles. You should have basically what I'm saying is you should have all these three bottles already. They come in that box. So obviously you can't do this unless you have all three bottles. The three bottles are $35.99 on Amazon. Yes, you need all three. Um, every time. When I feed my plants, I give them all three every time. It is very small amounts. So the bottles last a very long time. The more plants you have, the more it's going to use. If you're just growing like one or two plants, then you're not going to use that much. And so the first thing you want to do is make sure your make sure your watering jug, you should have that exact same watering jug. I also gave you the link for that watering jug. So you should have that exact same watering jug. It's exactly 1 gallon. So I had you get this jug for this for this reason because it's exactly 1 gallon. You don't have to measure. You fill it to the top. Boom, that's 1 gallon. You don't have to actually measure it. So what I do is I just fill this. The first thing you have to do is just simply fill this thing to the top. And I'm gonna restart the video for you, and so we can go from there. Um, and so you fill your gallon water jug up to the top. And so you have three nutrients here. You have Flora Micro, you have Flora Bloom, and you have Flora Grow. So the first one you're going to mix in here, and all you need is just a teaspoon. I use a plastic teaspoon, as you can see in the picture, because it's plastic. You don't even really have to clean it when it's over. Just toss it somewhere. I've been using the same plastic spoon doing this for over a year. It works great. You don't even have to use a real spoon. Just use a plastic teaspoon. You take your teaspoon, and you'll see here soon that I will take the teaspoon. You want to mix the Flora Micro first. So you mix the dark one first. The one in my hand there, you take that. And if you want to, what I do is you simply add 2 teaspoons of each. That's it. If you want to increase it, you can. You can increase it to 3 teaspoons of each, depending on how many plants you have. If you're just growing one or two plants, 2 teaspoons of each is fine. You start with the Flora Micro. You open it just like I did. You want to put that in there first because that's what it tells you to do on the instructions. 2 teaspoons, bam, there's one. You don't even have to perfectly measure, bam, there's two. Then you want to stir immediately after the Flora Micro. So you're going to stir this solution twice. You want to stir after the Flora Micro. I don't know the exact science behind that. It tells you on the bottle to stir after to add Flora Micro first and stir after that. It tells you that on the bottle. And so after you add your Flora Micro, two teaspoons, then you stir it. About 20 seconds or whatever. Then you add the other two. The order of the other two I don't think matters. I usually put the Flora Grow in second. And so you just do 2 teaspoons of that. And again, it doesn't have to be a perfect measurement. Boom, there's one. Boom, there's another. That's it. Your 2 teaspoons. If you have a ton of plants, 5, 6, 8 plants, do 3 because you're going to need more. Go by ear. 2 is generally, the average, the standard. And then I do 2 of the Flora Bloom. This is for flowering. So if you have a bunch of plants in flowering, you can do 3 of these. This is for growth. This helps the buds grow. Even if you don't have plants with buds, you still want to add it. I do. So you do 2 of these. Boom, boom. You can see that bottle is actually kind of low, but I have more in that box right there. So you add 2 of your Flora Bloom, and then after you add all 3, so again, 2 teaspoons of each. The Flora Micro first, 2 teaspoons, then stir, then add the other 2 teaspoons each. It's that easy. This is real easy. Then you stir the whole thing. Stir for a good 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Just get it mixed well. You do not want to just add them in there and punt. You want to mix it in that water very well. I haven't been counting here, but it's a good 20, 30-second stir is what I usually give it. After the stir, you're done. You water your plants as normal. The important thing here is you don't need to overwater them because there's nutrients in there. You water them as normal. Wait till the soil is dry. Water it until it's nice and wet. You don't need to overwater till it's dripping off. This is plant food. You don't need to drown them in it. If your plant is small and it's just a baby plant growing up, first of all, you don't want to water seedlings. You're not supposed to you don't want to feed seedlings. You're not supposed to give a plant fertilizer and food up until week 3 or week 4. You should not be giving your baby plants fertilizer, just water. Pretty sure I've said that before. When it's time to feed your plants, you just give you do that same mixture, but you just give it a little bit of water. You don't drown it just because it's plant food. You give it the same amount of water as you would normally when you're giving it water. That's what I'm trying to say. So if you just have a smaller plant and it's its first time to feed it, you just give it a 1-2 second pour, 2-second pour. You don't need to drown it. You give it the normal amount of water. It'll be fine. Feeding your plant, your feeding schedule should be once every 7 days. So I like to feed my plants on Saturday. I've been feeding my plants on Saturday for over a year. That's my feeding day. On a Saturday, this was a Saturday on this video. I did the mixture and I fed my plants. I'm not going to feed them again until next Saturday. So, you don't have to pick a Saturday, but a 7-day feeding schedule is what you should be doing. So that, if you don't know how often you should feed your plants, once a week, once every 7 days. You should not be feeding your plants every watering, every 2 days, 3 days. Once a week is all your plants need of these chemicals. They do not need a bunch of chemicals. Plants do need food after they start to get into the teenager stage. They do need food, but only once a week. Your plants are not going to starve by any means feeding them once a week, as long as you do this mixture right here. That's about all I got for y'all. I have listed the order of the exact things you're supposed to do. If you just follow the list in this bottom corner, you will have no problem feeding your plants. Feeding your plants is extremely easy. You mix chemicals in water. That's all you do. And the chemicals, just make sure you don't overdo it. You don't just pour the bottle in there and try and guess what two teaspoons are. You really want to have a teaspoon there so you can actually know what you're putting in there. Don't just hold the bottle up and guess. You will overdo it massively. So just have your teaspoon there and make sure you're actually pouring it on a teaspoon and then just dump the teaspoon in there. That's easy. Do 2 of each. That easy. Follow the instructions in the bottom left corner. That easy. Happy growing. I don't have nothing else to say about feeding your plants. The next video will probably be on fimming and topping your plants. Even though I don't top, I fim. I'll still talk about it. That's it. I'm out of here.